The Podesta brothers are critical deep state operatives. You probably remember them from the spirit cooking emails during WikiLeaks. Well, now one of the brothers is in bed with extremely shady Bulgarians. This is a little bit of insight into how the deep state operates. Stay tuned and I'll tell you more. Hey everybody, I'm Alex Newman. Thank you for watching Behind the Deep State. It's great to have you with us. And, before we get into today's topic, I do want to remind you, YouTube is doing everything possible to silence us, to shut us down, to shadow ban us. So move on over to one of the other sites. We've got an account at Rumble. We're up at Odyssey and Brighteon, all these other alternative services. So I hope you'll follow us over there. And also make sure you're subscribed to the New American Magazine and the New American's daily headlines in the email, because that way you can stay up to date and the big tech totalitarians cannot decide for you what you will see. Now, I want to get into this crazy story. I wrote an article for the New American about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it's a little insight into how the deep state works and the kind of shady, disgusting deals that are taking place by some of the most powerful people in our country. And I want to start with a very prominent Bulgarian investigative journalist. His name is Atanas Chobanov. Wonderful individual. He's been exposing corruption in Bulgaria and beyond for many years. A well-known investigative journalist. He's very well known in Bulgaria and even beyond. He's actually based outside the country right now. And he called me and he said, "Hey, I just received a death threat, and the U.S. Embassy in Sofia called me to let me know that somebody was threatening to either kill or grievously injure me." Very, very interesting. And so we got to talking about what he was working on. Turns out he was exposing Tony Podesta, who is universally known in Washington, D.C. as one of the most powerful lobbyists in the entire district of corruption or district of criminals, whatever you want to call it. Very, very, very powerful man. And part of the reason he's so powerful is because of his brother, John Podesta, who, of course, was the chief of staff for Bill Clinton while he was president. He ran Hillary Clinton's campaign, was a top advisor to Barack Hussein Obama. So this is a very powerful group of brothers here, John and Tony Podesta. And with that as a backdrop, I want to go into some of the investigation that Atanas Chobanov exposed. He got the documents. He actually sent them to me, so I've seen them. I've confirmed them, and multiple sources have confirmed this. That Podesta has millions of dollars worth of lobbying contracts with very shady Bulgarian business interests, and I put business in quotes. These are people connected to the old communist machinery there. These are people who are involved in all sorts of shady activities, arms dealers, oligarchs, etc. And some of these, at least, were not disclosed as required under federal law. In America, we have what's called the FARA, the Foreign Agent Registration Act, where anyone who's representing foreign interests, whether it be a foreign government or foreign businesses, is required to register. You're allowed to lobby for foreign governments and foreign businesses, but you have to register. Now, Tony Podesta is a master of lobbying for hostile, anti-American, dangerous, globalist, communist extremists. As one obvious example, he made massive amounts of money, I'm talking millions, lobbying for communist Chinese interests. One of his big clients in July of 2021, he inked a deal with the Communist Chinese telecommunications company, Huawei, which, of course, has long been accused of being a front for the People's Liberation Army. They're basically getting their technology embedded into global telecommunications systems. What could be so dangerous about that, right? Letting the most murderous dictatorship in all of human history spy on everybody's communications? What could go wrong? Especially after the Communist Chinese have been vacuuming up everybody's secrets for decades so that they can steal everybody's technology and intellectual property. Yeah, that's the kind of people that Podesta represents. Of course, Podesta was hired by Huawei because Huawei knows he is very influential with the Biden administration, with key members of Congress. Podesta also represented the Communist Chinese Party front group, China United States Exchange Foundation, the KUSEF, which has been instrumental in promoting communist Chinese government interests overseas. So that's the type of people that Tony Podesta represents. Okay, now back to Bulgaria. Turns out that in Bulgaria, he is representing a number of people who are intimately connected with a very shady Bulgarian oligarch called Delian Pivsky. This is an individual who is under U.S. sanctions. He's been sanctioned under the Global Magnitsky Act. for being a very nefarious individual. This is for human rights violators, corruptocrats, etc. And this allows the U.S. Treasury Department to freeze their assets, block them from coming into the United States, things like that. Well, Podesta's firm is representing a whole bunch of people who are connected to Pievsky. Now, Pievsky is described as running basically the shadow corrupt government in Bulgaria. He's got unbelievable amounts of wealth with a very shady origins accumulated in a very quick period of time. He wields enormous influence over the politics of Bulgaria, also over the media and over their judicial system, the intelligence agencies, the security agencies, etc. He was described by a leading German magazine as the iceberg of corruption. He's just the tip of the iceberg, but there's this massive machinery underneath him. And of course, he's widely known to be tied to the former communist machinery that once enslaved Bulgaria and slaughtered huge numbers of people. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people. Now, the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project has highlighted some of the threats that Chobanov is facing for his reporting. So has the Association of European Journalists. This is a very real threat that he is facing. Now, what did he uncover? Well, he's got documents showing that Chobanov has documents showing that Podesta has been lobbying for a number of Bulgarian companies. These are contracts worth millions of dollars, by the way, with very close ties to Pievsky. One of those contracts is with Protos Energy. Under this contract, Podesta agreed to represent and advance the company's interests when it comes to the White House, the National Security Council, U.S. Department of Energy, congressional leaders in the House and the Senate, the energy committees in the House and the Senate. Now, this company is owned by a Bulgarian businessman called Georgi Samuilov, and this guy is confirmed in his interviews with people that he has been doing business with Podesta for many years. They've known each other. And back in the 1990s, Samuilov was actually involved with something called the Multi-Group. Now, this was described in a 2005 U.S. diplomatic cable as the doyen of Bulgarian organized crime. So that's where this man is coming from. Samuilov was also accused of massive tax fraud and many other crimes in front of Bulgaria's parliament by the former head of the anti-organized crime unit. This guy went on to lead the customs department there. And of course, Samuilov was never detained or prosecuted. Now, the Bulgarian newspaper Capital described him as a frontman for Pievsky, the man under the sanctions under the global Magnitsky Act. So this is just a little bit of the kind of background here. Now, another one of the Podesta's big Bulgarian contracts is with a company called Hydrostoy, a construction company, massive political connections, that's owned by a guy called Veliko Zelev. Now, according to the former Interior Minister of Bulgaria, Boyko Rashkov, this guy has been involved in embezzling millions of dollars. He's involved in all kinds of corruption. And another very suspicious connection. Then just recently, a few months ago, Podesta was reportedly in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, inking a deal with a very prominent Bulgarian lawyer, Momchil Mondeshki. This is a convicted fraudster and a known power broker working for Delian Pievsky, according to the Bulgarian the Bureau of Investigative Reporting and Data's Analysis and Report. This guy, Mondeshki, has been dubbed the Trojan horse of Pievsky in the Bulgarian media because of all these deals supposedly, reportedly benefiting Mr. Pievsky. Now, leaked conversations involving judges and Mondeshki showed that there's massive amounts of influence peddling going on when it comes to the government and the judiciary. Another Podesta client is a Bulgarian arms dealer, Kirig Klenovsky. Paid Podesta lots of money to help facilitate a massive arms deal with a mass murdering Arab dictatorship. Yeah, true story. And very, very interesting how Podesta keeps coming up over and over and over again. According to Bird's reporting, this guy Podesta was with the attorney. They created this front company, and they met up in Dubai and had meetings about, reporting here what they're reporting, laundering Pievsky's money through this so-called consulting firm created by Podesta and Mondeshki. So very, very significant things happening here, guys. This would, if true, violate U.S. sanctions. It would violate multiple U.S. criminal statutes. And yet the Department of Justice is not focusing on this, as far as we know. Instead, they're focusing on the mostly peaceful January 6th protesters. They're focusing on moms and dads who are upset about the critical race theory garbage being peddled to their children. Pretty unbelievable, guys. Now, just some quick background on the Podesta brothers. for those who are not familiar. We found out from emails that were leaked by WikiLeaks that John Podesta was invited by Tony Podesta to a spirit cooking party with artist Marina Abramovich. Her Twitter handle included the number 666. And you should see some pictures. I want to show you some of these pictures of Marina Abramovich and her spirit cooking. Basically, they get a bunch of body fluids in a cauldron, and then they paint the walls, and they summon these spirits or demons or whatever. It's all very, very bizarre. They eat cakes shaped like human beings. Very, very bizarre stuff. Now, this is also not Tony Podesta's first time being ensnared in some very suspicious dealings with his lobbying. In fact, back in 2017, he came to the attention of the investigation conducted by the special counsel, Robert Mueller, involving Paul Manafort. Now, Paul Manafort got himself into some pretty big trouble for failing to disclose foreign contracts under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. President Trump actually personally went after Tony Podesta on Twitter, wondered why he wasn't detained as part of this investigation. Well, at that point, Podesta seems to have put his lobbying on ice. But now that Democrats are back in power, now that they know that the DOJ is back safely in the hands of the corruptocrats, seems like they know anything goes once again. So, folks, this is just a little bit of the insight, a little bit of how the deep state operates, right? It's a swamp. It's a cesspool of corruption and criminality. But the rules don't apply to them because there are overlords. The rules apply to you, right? You're a mom, you're a dad, you're upset that your children are being force-fed garbage at public school. That's who the FBI and the Department of Justice are after, not people representing hostile mass murdering foreign dictatorships without even filing their mandatory disclosures. No, we pretend like we don't see that. So, folks, this is just a little sneak preview into how the deep state operates. It's a disgusting cesspool of influence peddling, crime, criminality, occultism, spirit cooking, and all the rest of it. And if you think it's just the Republicans involved in stuff like the Bohemian Grove, go back and watch our episode. You're kidding yourself, folks. These weird occult elements, they run through all the elements of the power structure on both the Democrat and the Republican side of things. And it's corruption, folks. It's not a partisan issue. It is a deep state issue, and these people need to be exposed, and they need to be held accountable. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Alex Newman. This is Behind the Deep State. Please share this out. Again, the social media companies are doing everything they can to silence us. Go to thenewamerican.com, subscribe to the magazine, get subscribed to the daily headlines. And until next week, God willing, we'll see you then. So God bless you all. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe, hit like, hit that little bell so that you'll be notified whenever we post new videos. And also, please make sure to share this video with your friends. Email's a great way to do it. Remember, there are powerful forces working to steal our freedom and destroy our country. We need to work together, expose those behind the deep state. Otherwise, you can kiss your liberties goodbye.